In a broken wasteland, come to my fire.
What's going on, Metalheads? Thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson. I am your host. With me today is Derek Fletcher from the band Ancient Days. Dude, we just played a show together back at the end of May with Early Moods and at Black Circle. Love that place. They're the staff, Stranger Attractions, dude. They're awesome. I don't understand why it hasn't happened yet, but Dustin needs to come onto the show and talk.
He
talk
does,
shop.
dude. That guy is. I don't get how he does it, man. He's in 30 successful bands and runs a venue and runs the shows, and I'm just like, how do you do it? How do you have time? You know, it's like, yeah, I love Dustin, man. He's a great guy.
You know, that's interesting that you say that, Pete. And we're already getting into the derailed shit right now.
I love it.
When you leave a band that's like a successful on the road touring band, and you just kind of stick to like regional stuff, that you do have that bit of time, where you're not every single day in it, like on the road.
Right. Yeah. Just kind of letting the things work behind the scenes kind of vibe, which I like that.
Yeah, for sure. But this is about you guys. It's Ancient Days, and so like, dude, before we get into it, how's it going? How are things? How's 2025 treating you already?
2025 has been pretty good, I'd have to say. These past couple days I've been dealing with some kind of chest bugs that's driving me fucking crazy. Like, I feel better, and then at night I can't breathe out of my nose, and I'm just like,
that's kind of the Midwest thing, isn't it?
Dude, it is. It has to be. So other than that, I don't know if you're a sports fan, but the Pacers have been kicking ass. I've loved basketball since early 90s. So to see the Pacers taking it to the finals has been pretty
absolutely
surreal. Pretty surreal.
Yeah, for sure. I've lived in Indiana pretty much my entire life, Louisville, and it's been pretty cool to see them come up. Even though I do share a name with a player for the Pacers.
I was going to ask you. I was like, is there any relation to Mark Jackson from the Pacers?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I think he would probably be closer related to Michael. From Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Yeah, that's the place that everybody likes is Gary. Give me one second.
It. All right. Okay.
Hell yeah. So I'm gonna just let everybody know I stopped the film there for a second. I try not to keep the wool over people's eyes too much, because I think most news sources and journalists do that. It's all opinion based stuff at this point. Like when you look at real news stuff. So yeah, I felt like a chud because I drank out of a 2-liter bottle, as you just saw. So I went and got a glass like a gentleman. This nice green smoked Legend of Zelda glass.
And
you were saying that you've been drinking a little bit too much soda, and I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. And you said you've got the cherry cola.
Dude, I'm a sucker for it. I don't even know when it started. I drink at least one cherry Coke a day, and trying to switch off to the tea. I was on a pretty good program where I was doing like one soda a day, and then I would just do water. And it's so easy to just hop off that train and just be like,
it is.
One soda is all right. One more is not going to hurt. One more cigarette won't hurt. Not running, not skating, not working out will be, and then you're just not doing any of it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that's the thing that I think, that's all. Ultimately, it's our own worst enemy as people, I think.
Yeah.
And it's not just with those things. It's with work life. It's with social life. It's with everything, where you go out and do something, and then you kind of sit there and think, I probably shouldn't have done that, or I should do that more. And then you just don't do it more. It's like saying one of these days when I'm actually going to put this thing out, and here it is like 7 years later or 12 years later, and it's still not released, and that happens
It does.
because
Well,
it's the willpower thing, I think.
sure. And that, I mean, actually, that's a great example of what ancient days once was. And it's a good example too that, if you think too much about shit, it's bad. And if you rush shit too much, it's bad. So it's like really hard to find that middle ground because, when we first started ancient days, it was just me and my guitar player, Pop Tart. That's his name. um, and me and him, we've been trying to record music together probably since 2011, 2012. Like we didn't really know what we were trying to do, but he had like a whole different side of music that I had never experienced, and I had a whole different side of music he's never experienced. So we were just like, let's just make shit. So it just like naturally it turned into like some psychedelic-y, smoky rock and roll shit, but we never had a bass player and we never had a drummer. So we were putting out electric guitar songs with just my vocals, and we were calling ourselves Stone Thrower. And that was,
Okay.
2013 probably. And it's pretty ridiculous sounding going back and listening to it now sometimes. And,
Dude,
that
I
was,
get that same bit of weird nostalgia for my stuff from my thrash band from that time frame.
oh, dude,
Like,
it's cool. And it's also like, what the fuck were we doing? Like, like we're just trying to, make music, and then it just I told him one day, I was like, I'm going to just learn how to drum so we can have just enough drums that we can put shit out. And again, listening to that, I'm just like, I'm glad we never played a show because holy hell, like my drumming is not good.
for
And
sure.
yeah, so our first couple releases, we've never really spoke about it. We never really talked about it, but our first two releases were just garage. We did everything on GarageBand Mobile on the phone. So we did the drums, and then we'd have the iPhone headphones wrapped around like this little key ring on his amp, and he had to lean into it. He couldn't move from it, and he had to play all the way through. If he messed up, we had to restart. Like we couldn't track, we couldn't layer. And this, my point is I was like so ready to keep rushing it. I was like, come on, just do it. Get the song done. Let's get the song done. So we have two releases come out back to back, like within a couple months of each other. And my friend Johnny, he's my mentor, my musical mentor. He calls me, and he's a very tough guy to please when it comes to music.
Sure.
And he's just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? This is like the weirdest shit I've ever heard in my life. The drums don't change. There's no anything. I was like, what do you mean they don't change? He's like, they're just one drum the whole time. Like it doesn't switch to like a verse or like an outro, or it's just crashed the whole time. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I never caught I never even paid attention to that because I just wanted to get it out.
Sure.
So we were able to hone in on those words. And when we did Black Magic Nights, like we had it more in sections. We had an intro, we'd go to the verse or the chorus and be able to separate that. And so that was kind of our takeoff in a sense. Obviously we're not the Beatles or anything huge, but it caught some kind of traction. So we had all these distribution companies and record places from Italy getting a hold of us. And they're like, what part of Italy are you guys from? Like, we've never heard of you. And I was like, we're very far from Italy. We're in Indiana, in the United States. And they're like, wow, you guys, like, I mean, I can't even make it up. It was like 3 or 4 different companies were coming at us thinking we were Italian. And I was just like, I don't know where you guys are getting that we're Italian or anything, but I guess that's cool. Hell yeah, And
That's
so,
rad.
everyone's asking for records, and we were like, we don't know how to fucking do that. So I got a hold of this company called Digger's Factory. And for anyone listening out there, I do not recommend them. It was an absolute nightmare. It did turn out and it worked, but I mean, it was a nightmare. They spoke French, I spoke English. So it was really hard for us and them to get each other's points across. And they needed certain art formats and certain audio formats. but they were telling me in like French. So it's like I had no idea what they were saying. I'm like looking it up like Duolingo. I was like, what the fuck does this mean? And eventually we got it sorted out, but we had Cam, our current drummer now, mix it for the record, and he was like, dude, these drums sound amazing. Like, how many mics did you use? And I was like, one. Like, I had no idea what he's talking about because I just put them together in GarageBand Mobile, but they were that convincing that even he was just like, damn, you used one mic and they sound that good. So that was pretty entertaining. But we eventually, we tried to stop rushing shit, essentially.
Yeah, because as much as I hate cliche, it's like haste makes waste. Uh, but like, yeah, and I totally get that because we were the same way as in my thrash band Overload. It was like 2011 album, 2012 album, 2013 album, 2014 album, 2015, it's just like bam, 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 bam. And how kind of you all were over like COVID, where you had like 4 or 5 releases
Yeah.
in that amount of time, or at least that's what, as per the Metal Archives, it says 2020 is quite a big year for you all.
Yeah, that's correct. Because again, we just had a compilation of shit, and I called it Pop Tart, and I was like, hey, what would you think if I just like put this together? We call ourselves Ancient Days, and we see what happens, and we'll call the album Sacrificial Knife, like just whatever. Let's get some shit out there, and it, I mean that thing. I don't know if you've ever listened to it front to back, but I mean it's all over the place. You got looped songs, you got live songs with studio recorded vocals. Like it's just insane all over the place. But it got some people stoked on it, and we're like, well, we figured something out, so let's just keep going. And um just it's crazy what when we go back and we look at what we've done and how many releases we did, because even Sign of the Times, like it still it's a head scratcher to me because it did so well right away. Like we sold out all the records when they pressed. Um, and we have a few left ourselves, has a lot of views, and really we wrote the album and we over some time, I guess from 21 uh to whenever we recorded it in July of 21, I guess. And then so the situation was our drummer was just unable to make it to any of our practices to like get prepared for the studio. So we wrote the final 3 songs in one day. He had no idea how they sounded. I texted him. I was like, hey, we wrote the final 3 songs. This is what they sound like. Practice them 5,000 times in a row if you have to, on your hands, on your legs, whatever you got to do. And our keyboard, Alex, was in the Air Force at the time, and he was waiting deployment. And our luck gets the call the night before the studio
Oh
saying, hey, just letting you know, you're shipping out tomorrow at XYZ time. So we had, I think, like 3 hours or less to record the whole album. And he didn't even tell us until like, I think it had to have been like a year or two after that he couldn't even hear himself playing the whole time he was recording. So he's just playing the keys deftly, essentially. And
wow.
this is why he's a genius, because it's like he nailed it still. And I guess he was too shy at the time to say anything about it. He's a great guy, and if he thinks anything's somewhat confrontational, he just won't say anything. Where it's like,
Right.
Alex, I wish you would have told me, because you probably would have played something different or maybe started noodling. But yeah, so again, another very rushed album, and it did pretty well for us. Again, I'm not trying to blow smoke up our asses and be like, yeah, we're the shit. But it's like it did. That's what
Well, no, I
got that
mean that's
attention.
yeah, that's where that's the entry point for a lot of people, it seems like, you know, that you find what you hear, just that one song in a playlist now, and then then most people just go back and listen to everything before that. At least that's how I do. I mean, I would
Yeah,
assume that
sure.
a
Yep.
lot of other people do that. So yeah, I mean, you've got the entry point at that. So with everything being pretty much made and written fast, is that still holding true today? Or
No.
are you all
So
trying to say no, we've got to slow down?
yeah, so it's mostly my fault because they at least with Pop Tart, it's like I would just hound the hell out of him and bless his heart for dealing with me and just because he's a family man, he's got kids and he's got all this stuff. So in a way, I felt bad because I'm interrupting his time by calling him and be like, I have this crazy idea. Like this is how the riff sounds in my head. Let's make it work. Here's the drums. I'm sending them over to you now. And then he would just create it from scratch. And so with Devil's Night, when we did that, it's we really did. We took our time on that, like our sweet ass time on it, and we ended up recording to tape, just to get that real kind of 70s vibe to it. And it was very difficult. It was very difficult. And a lot of fun. I mean, to see, just to see it on tape and watch it rewind and hit play and it's playing. Like that's us. That's what we recorded. There's no redos, there's no nothing. Like that's what you get. Um, so yeah, we took our time with that one. And shit, I don't even know when it came out, 2023 or 2024, one of those years. I can't even remember at this point because we've pumped them out. It's like it's hard to
Right.
keep up. And our label will repress them and come out with different graphics. So it's so hard to like keep up with when they actually come out. So yeah, we've been sitting on all of our newer songs now, at least three of them we've been sitting on for probably a year. We just wrote one of the new ones probably 3 or 4 months ago, with our ex bass player and us. And now that we have Anthony in our band, it's all new to him. And then so we got about 3 or 4 more songs we're gonna do. We're gonna make it a little longer because all of our songs are, our last album, there was nothing that really under 6 minutes. And
Sure.
personally, for me, it's like my attention span can't even listen to that. So imagine everyone else's these days. It's everything's so fast, dude. You get on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube and you're scrolling for 5 hours and you just watch 10,000 shorts and you're just like, my God. So it's like it's just crazy because when you think about like Metallica and them, like they would come out with songs that were 10 minutes long and every second of it was enjoyable and you could sit and you listen to it. And now anything over 3 minutes, it seems everyone's just kind of lost and whatever. So yeah, all of our songs are really short, probably under 4 minutes, maybe five is our longest one.
Right
So
on.
we're just trying to really just kind of find our own and play for ourselves again, because I think that's when we did the best, is when we just kind of wrote songs that we liked.
Sure. No, and that's the thing, is going, as you said, it's like that's not what you're into listening to, is the 6 and 7 minute songs anymore. It's 3 and 4. And you're right about, spending 5 hours on something like YouTube or TikTok or whatever app, and you're just scrolling the whole
Yeah,
night away.
all day. Yeah, all night.
And
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 that's crazy.
and I think it's content overload, for
Oh
lack of
yeah,
a better
dude.
word.
Everything's so accessible too, man, that you can fast forward play through anything. And that's, we kind of went back and forth too. We're like, well, maybe we'll just take it back to the day, man, where we'll just press the record and we won't put it out digitally. But then it's like, well, that could hurt us, or maybe we just do it digitally and it's locked and
There's
you have to
bands that do
listen. I don't
that.
know.
There's bands that
Yeah,
do that. And, I always wonder about it because, it's a step, especially in a digital culture. You know,
sure.
you almost have, to get on, to even make anything on Spotify, you've got to have thousands and thousands and thousands of plays. I mean, honestly,
Impossible to figure out too.
sure. And not only is it impossible to figure out, but when somebody does figure it out, just for whatever reason, they can come in and fucking just cut your fucking throat on it.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
um,
Exactly.
if you're familiar with Sharonix, Max Barber, his band had that happen where they had some like 80 or 100,000 plays on one song, and everything else was like 1,200 or 1,300, and they went in and just completely took the fucking song down and said that they were they were false streaming it.
Oh yeah. Classic. Yeah. It's dude. I could go on in endless rants about those, and it's getting to a point though where I kind of like that we're so in the shadows, because the people that know, the people
Sure.
that get it. It's like we're not for everybody. We're not for the broader audience. We're horror occult themed dripping psychedelia that people just don't get, unless you grew up with
Well,
fucking Sabbath and all that shit.
but so what in the instance of the inverse of that, where it's like, yeah, people, the normies don't get it until they do.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the thing, man, like because the music I grew up listening to, and I'm sure you did too, Kiss and Sabbath, and then it turned into Pentagram and Electric Wizard. It's like I still to this day when I listen to Electric Wizard, um, it's like they were kind of one of those bands too. It's like if you get it, you get it. If you don't, it's not for you, whatever. I remember playing it at this like kind of jockey bar out in Carmel, Indiana one time, and I put it on like 10 times so nobody could skip it. And it just kept playing Electric Wizard over and over. Dun, dun, dun. And this girl, she gets up all pissed and she's like, why the fuck does Slipknot keep playing? And I'm just like, for the love of God, man. Like, that's the shit I'm talking about. It's like, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, it sounds like Slipknot or whatever
Yeah,
whatever
it's
the shit is.
insert the heaviest thing you know.
Right. So it's like that's why it's kind of harder for bands like us in a sense. And I'm not playing the tiny violin or woe is me like I deserve it. We don't. I don't give a fuck about any of that. It's just we're such a weird group as is. Pop Tart, his musical background is just so strange to me. Like the shit he knows. He's the reason why we're called Ancient Days because he showed me the band Black Widow, a very occulty late 60s psych jazzy rock band, and they are very satanic. And they have a song called In Ancient Days, and that was like what Pop Tart introduced me to, and who I kind of got introduced to him by. I was like, oh, this dude, he knows his shit. Like he listens to some deep cut shit. Fuck yeah. And then you got Alex, our keyboard player, that fucking plays chess while we're doing sound check and is a mastermind at pretty much every instrument and plays classical piano. When I asked him to play organ for us, he's like, I don't know how to play organ. I'm like, dude, you're playing Beethoven backwards. Like, you'll figure it out. And then Cam, our drummer, is into like some pretty interesting shit. Is that all I can say? Like, I don't really have a specific genre. It's like rock and roll, but I don't know, very different. And then Anthony, he's now our new bass player, probably has like the most similar taste to music. He's more on that like Paul Bearer Doom side. He
Sure.
likes that dronier kind of melodic-y doom. And then I just like, I mean, anything if it's before the 90s, I probably like it. So our musical taste is just so different and strange, and it's cool because it's all fusing together now to where if you do remember our last song that we played at our set, it's a new song and it's like 20 different genres in one. It goes from like some heavier, faster kind of rock and roll into a prog section into a Sabbathy kind of and then into like a Santana bongo jam.
Dude, that's
so,
that's awesome. And yeah,
so yeah.
and And yes, I do remember it, and then just like being in that moment of just like, oh fuck, just being there and doing the thing. And like that's what I think what I like about Black Circle is like I've never been able to just like drone out in a bar like to an awesome fucking band. I mean, I'm sure I have, but like the days of remembering them are fewer and far between. But like
Right.
just hanging out and just being like blown the fuck away, it is rad shit. And that's how, watching you all, that's how it was for me.
Thank you, dude. Fuck
You had
yeah.
said something a minute ago, like, it became Black Sabbath and Kiss became like Electric Wizard and Pentagram. And
Yeah,
it always reminds me, because Pentagram was around in the early 70s.
sure. Yeah.
They didn't actually come out with the first album until like 1985.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. It's pretty fucking
And
wild.
what's so wild to me is just like, yeah, obviously they're Sabbath worship, especially like
Sure.
that whole Master of Reality
Oh
meets,
yeah.
Volume 4 and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, the Doom, the real Doom era for Sabbath, I think. I mean, first album is, but
Yeah,
first
once
album
Master
is
of Reality came
questionable.
out, you're just like, damn, like
Yeah, like
they got deeper
Hand
and
of
heavier.
Doom, fucking Lord of this World, fucking that stuff. Into the Void. Real fucking heavy shit.
Fuck yeah, it
And
was,
it
dude.
always reminds me of like I've constantly seen the picture of Live Aid when Sabbath got back together for the set. And like that's like what is it, like Ultimate Sin era Ozzy or some shit like
Yeah,
that, where
yeah,
he's
yep, it
wearing
was.
like the fucking yellow striper jacket. It's like the fucking trench coat, and fucking the rest of
Yeah,
Sabbath is all in leather and shit
yeah.
like Judas Priest. And it's like, what I want to be in the fucking alternate timeline when that Sabbath reunited.
Dude, well, it was cool too because, well, it was weird. It was called Black Sabbath featuring Ozzy, and it's funny that you bring up Live Aid because probably all of last year, like I was obsessed with Live Aid. Like I watched every video and I just on repeat. My fiance was like getting annoyed because I'm just like, dude, did you know this band played at Live Aid? Did you know this band was there? David Bowie's set was the fucking best. Paul Young was there. Like I just every day. And Phil Collins drummed for like four fucking bands that day,
Oh
which
yeah.
is just insane. And so, yeah, it's just funny because I ended up getting a Live Aid baseball tee for Christmas, and
Dude,
it's
you
just
need to
sick. I
you need to
fucking
get
love
the
it,
logo as the tattoo.
dude. I might have to, man, because that shit's like, I don't know what it is, man. Like, it's just a whole different generation of musicians. It's kind of like you got to be a
Honestly,
musician
it's
to
like,
respect some of that shit, you know?
yeah, something like that was, it was there for a cause, just like it was in, like '08 when they had Live 8.
Ah, yes, I remember
Um,
that. Yeah,
which is where Floyd got back together.
so
It's
sick.
like, so yeah, they had these things, but it also reminds me of like Concert for Freddie or Concert for George, those things like
Yeah,
the Freddie Mercury tribute show at Wembley.
yeah, so sick.
Watching
Yeah, so
video
good.
from that, because like, dude, fucking James singing Stone Cold Crazy with fucking
Yeah, dude.
Queen, and
So
Tony
good.
Iommi's playing guitar on it too.
So sick. Yeah,
It's
dude.
like that
It
that
was,
would
yeah,
alone
it's
be
like,
like such a fucking weird combination. Could you like I don't even know if I'd want to play on that stage. I would just want to be
yeah, dude. Holy
I would
fuck.
want to be a tech that ran and picked up
Yeah.
the fucking mic stand that fell over.
Yeah, no shit, man. And there's like, back to Live Aid real quick because it reminded me of, the song Do They Know It's Christmas? Like, again, during Christmas, I just looped that song because it's just like everybody was on it. George Michael and fucking dude from Duran Duran and Boy George and like all this shit that people probably think's lame as fuck. But It's just like, dude,
It's like We Are the
they're
World.
so good, dude. Yeah, We Hear the World, like all that shit's so sick to me.
Uh,
And
dude,
it just doesn't exist really.
are you're so you're into psych rock and stuff like that. So do you like Mothers of Invention and Zappa?
It's funny, dude. I actually never really listened to Frank Zappa because the way I looked at it is that and this sounds dumb when I say it out loud, and I know that, but I have to say it. Um, I didn't listen to him because I felt like he made fun of music. So I was just like, I didn't like that. I was like, man, I'm not listening to this dude. He makes fun of music and like, but
I could see that, honestly. What it is to me is like, he just has these. It's almost like, are they super like fantastical songs, like, like uh, Nanook rubs it in, and Saint Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast and Cosmic Debris, all these songs that, yeah, I'm listing off of like Overnight Sensation, or but like, did they actually have a deeper meaning?
yeah, they very well could, and that's something I've never considered now that you're saying that, it's like, well,
Because
he loves Sabbath too, and like he was like
mhm.
ripping one of the songs, maybe Sabracadabra, or I can't remember what song. I just listened to something about it where he's like wanted to play it or something, and had him at the show, or maybe somebody was at his show. I can't remember exact story, but I respect Frank Zappa. That's the thing. It's like I respect the fuck out of him. He rips,
Oh
and
yeah.
he's a shredder for sure. But I've never really listened to him, so maybe I'll just start diving into his discography
Dude,
and
that's it. Dude, it's some wild stuff, especially musically. Musically, like, if you're a fan of ELO,
love him.
like, imagine if like ELO was more prog and like space rock kind of stuff. Um, and like, yeah, that's because dude, like, Frank had like marimba players and xylophone players and fucking saxophonists, fucking all kinds of people. Steve Vai was in the band.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
mean, I
great.
back all that what you just said. So I mean, I'm sure. I know Pop
Uh,
Tart really likes Frank
well,
Zappa.
and the other thing is like, I recently saw, and I knew this about him because his dad was like a nuclear physicist,
Ah,
and would bring home like raw mercury, and
oh
Frank would
shit.
play with the fucking mercury and shit, like barehanded. Like, this is in like the 40s, 50s,
Yeah,
so
dude. Fuck.
before anybody knew any of that stuff. Like, he was a fan of the Monkees, even.
I
Like,
love the Monkeys too, man. I get it.
yeah, that was like, so like, shows that you've ever seen that are just like, holy shit, blown away, that you wouldn't even expect to be blown away by. That was one for me, was seeing Mickey Dolenz.
Oh yeah, really? Huh. That's
Yeah.
sick. Well, that's like I don't know if you've ever gone to the state fair in Indianapolis at all during August. They have
I have not been to the Indiana State Fair, but I live close to Louisville, and the
oh,
Kentucky
okay.
State Fair is where like Cardinal Stadium and Freedom Hall and stuff
Sure.
is. So
Yeah. So they
so
do
I
this
definitely know the fair thing.
they do the Happy Together tour. And I've
Mm-hmm.
gone pretty much every year. And one year it was Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad. And I was just trying to stress to everyone how kick ass that was that he was like playing there. I was like, dude, Grand Funk Railroad was selling out more shows than Zeppelin at one point, and they were headlining over Zeppelin on Zeppelin's fucking tour. Like,
Yeah.
this is insane, and it was the Turtles and Three Dog Night, Paul Revere and the Raiders, like all these like deep cut kind of 60s rock bands that you got to see for free. And like that's how I felt too. Like I was just blown away. I was like, these dudes are 9,000 years old
Oh
and
yeah.
still just killing it. Like the Vogues were there, and just like every
And
year it just gets
honestly,
cooler.
what's wild about it is like, on that like fair circuit, like that summer tour thing. Like Nugent always played those things. ZZ Top did for a long time.
Yeah.
Uh, like I saw Shinedown at one of them here
Oh,
in
really?
at the Kentucky State Fair, yeah, on a free show
Huh.
night. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, a lot of those people did. And what's so cool about it is like how you were saying, like Grand Funk and everything. Uh, but those bands, what's wild about it, and I've almost lost my train of thought as I've explained it, is like there's some of them that you would have thought did it, but didn't and didn't have to, like Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh God, dude.
Like Blue Oyster Cult still to this day, or Jethro Tull even to
Yeah,
this day, they've never done those where they probably could have, and like, but they've always consistently been putting out albums still.
sure. Yeah,
I
Blue
mean,
Oyster Cult last album they just came out with is so fucking good. If you haven't heard it, it's like
yeah,
great.
what, it came out last April or something.
Something like that. I was just like, dude, what the hell? Like I thought it was like was that song Don't Come Running to Me. Like straight up sounded like Don't Fear the Reaper era. Like I was like,
Sure,
I've never heard this song. How have I never heard this? So I was like, oh, it's new. Like what? So
absolutely, totally cool
yeah, dude.
stuff.
And I got to
So
see them at a casino actually, them and Foghat, free show, and it was just insane. Like I was just like, holy hell, dude! Like their tones in real life
dude,
was just insane.
fucking Foghat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like Foghat almost. Okay, so Molly Hatchet. Let me explain.
Molly Hatchet. Let's hear it.
Okay. Molly Hatchet is a band that I consider theft by deception. And let me explain. Frank Frazetta album covers.
Yep.
Power metal of power metal covers. Death Dealer, fucking,
Yep.
all that shit. And they're Southern fucking rock.
I know, dude. Yeah,
And
I
it's
get
so
you.
much. And Foghat is the same thing, only a switch different. They are a Southern rock band from England.
Yeah. It's weird. Well, it's weird. I mean, it's
Like
even like,
Slow Ride, come on,
yeah,
that's total fucking 70s fucking Leonard Skinner meets fucking who the fuck ever, Leonard Leonard Skinner meets Aerosmith or some shit.
yeah, dude. And yeah, it's weird how that shit works. Cause I was just talking about this the other day. Like, Meatloaf's Bad Out of Hell. Like, I remember being a kid at a Dairy Queen and they had that album in the jukebox.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that looks fucking heavy. And I chose a song and I was like, what the hell? I was like, what's happening? I was like, I select the right fucking thing.
Hey, I still have a
But it's
deep
great.
appreciation for that album
Fuck yeah,
because
man. Fuck yeah.
everything that band went through to get that album out, and like just that, it was like hurdle after hurdle, and like it's Meatloaf, so he's trying to jump the hurdles, but he's a big dude. He's catching his feet on every fucking one of them and
Right,
going
right.
down and rolling into the next one. But he had such a fucking perseverance for what he did. And like when the fucking video debuted, the fucking tape drag in the fucking player, and it fucking slowed
Sick.
and then it fucking sped back up, and it's just like they watched it live when it debuted and they were just like, what the fuck is happening? It's like the
Yeah, fuck.
fucking it's like the Lone Rangers in fucking when the tape gets fucking eaten out of the tape deck in Airheads.
Dude, what a great movie. Holy shit.
Oh, absolutely. This is kind of cool because like everybody's gotten to see the sun go down in your screen. So
Yeah, dude. This is the real me coming out of the shadows, dude. I love it. Just
fuck
the
yeah, dude.
silhouette, it's kind of the stage presence we go for, just kind of mysterious and
And the blue
who is
lights.
that? Yeah, and the lights and who's that
And
behind those glasses?
fuck yeah, absolutely. So before we switch over to what I consider derailed, which the whole
Sure.
podcast is that,
I'm all about
um,
it, dude.
what do people have to look forward to with Ancient Days for the rest of the year?
So we're actually going to kind of slow down quite a bit. We're playing one more home show on Friday the 13th, which is pretty I'm gonna hold this one near and dear to me because it's with Goya.
Absolutely. I
And
saw that and I was just like, holy shit, they're playing with fucking
it's
Goya.
yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude. Because me and Pop Tart lived in Arizona for a little bit, and I ended up moving to Tempe, which is kind of where all like the skateboarding and like the doom and all that shit is. And my very first show I ever went to, this was 2015, was with Goya and Slow Season.
Mm.
And I'm not even exaggerating. Like I can still close my eyes and hear how loud Goya was and just how fucking sick it was, dude. So he knows, Jeff, I guess, knows our bass player, Anthony. Anthony tattoos out of Franklin, Indiana, and owns a shop and stuff. So he knows quite a decent amount of people. And he had hit up Anthony. Was like, dude, I'm looking for a band and a venue that's kind of close to us. What do you got? And he's like, well, I just joined Ancient Days, and I think we're pretty much on that same, satanic, evil, rock and rolly horror film shit. And he's like, fuck yeah. So we just started hunting down, he got a hold of me, and it was just crazy because it's like I've known quotes Jeff since 2015, and in passing we just kind of talk and pick each other's brains. And um so yeah, it's really fucking sick. And then we're playing this kind of chopper van boogie festival up in Minnesota in July. And then after July, we are going to solely focus on recording the songs we have and then finish writing the rest, and hopefully, fingers crossed, have our album out digitally by early October, and just kind of go from there. We're taking kind of a break on any kind of runs or tours unless they're local enough, or maybe some bigger kind of bands want somebody to open
Sure.
up. But it's financially, it's too hard, man. We ran ourselves dry a little too fast these past couple of years, so we're like kind of recoup. And now that we have Anthony, we want to get him acclimated and kind of see what his direction is. And I mean, this dude's already bringing so many different angles of shit that like we hadn't seen. And right now we're kind of working on graphics together and some art. And so we're going to kind of start, I think, pumping out a little more merch and kind of focusing on staying quiet, but pumping out some merch and trying to get a single out sooner than later.
Sure.
And just whatever happens, really, man, we're feathers in the wind at this point. We just want to be stoked on what we're doing. And if we're stoked, and that's really all we're kind of trying to focus on, is what can we do to make each other and ourselves stoked with our own music.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's, I never really got the artists who can't listen to themselves.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I've never
It is
really
interesting.
understood that because even so, like for me, and this will all kind of tie in to where we're going with this.
Sure.
Uh, somehow it will. I'll make it work. Anyway, so like with me, anytime I listen to something that I've been on, it's almost as if I can practice it while I'm listening to it
Yep.
because I can just sit there and I'll be like knowing where to play, right?
Right. Of course. Yep.
And the cool thing about it is just like going back and again seeing how Anthony's going to be acclimated and how reinvigorating it can be to have a new member and
Sure.
being able to go in and say doing this for the music that you want to hear.
Absolutely.
Star
Yep.
Wars was made it was a film that George Lucas wanted to see.
Right. And
you
that's
know
that's the beauty of art.
It absolutely is.
It's the
And
beauty of art.
one of the things I wanted to ask when you brought up Goya
Sure.
and and how psyched you are, because by the time this airs, this will be probably a couple weeks after that show.
Sure.
So, like, picking each other's brains, in passing a lot of times. Is it like, do you get like, like the mecca out of this? Like, this is like you look up to them so much, and
Yeah, it's
you
definitely up
you can
there with
still
that.
be a fan and a friend.
Absolutely, man. And that's like, that's kind of been the beauty of this whole musical journey, because again, when me and Pop Tart started, we were just in the corner of his apartment and we would record there, and then I would record my vocals when I drove home. And that was it. We were happy with that. We never really imagined doing shows, and when our first couple shows was, kind of like intimidating because we were playing an opening for The Obsessed and The Skull. And it's like I grew up listening to Trouble and The Obsessed and
Sure.
just all of Wino's shit. And so that was fucking crazy. And then getting to meet him, and then we've played with Earthless, and that was like another kind of like, oh shit, like we're really fucking playing these shows. And with Donova, and now with Goya and with Monolord. So it's like we've got to kind of meet these people on human, and that's what's so weird, man, is everyone's so tied in. Like when we played with Earthless, it's like I was really close friends with a lot of their close friends, but so we were
Sure.
like one gap away from knowing each other. So it was cool to like, same with Early Moods, their guy that was their road guy. Like that dude knew pretty much all the same guys that I knew very well.
Oh
He
yeah.
knew very well. So it's just like, whoa, dude, like it's a blast from a fucking past. So it's
Oh
like it's gonna
sure.
be really
Yeah.
cool to talk to him
That's
about
That's
that.
so wild that you say that, because I was talking with Early Moods as well. And I'm like, hey, we were talking about building a bass. I was talking with their bass player because he plays a similar bass to what I have in Ice Howl. And we were just talking about and just riffing. I was like, do you know uh Feely Bibiano from Entrance? He's like, oh, he's my boy. And it's like, oh
So
yeah,
sick, dude.
so cool. It's
Fuck
like
yeah.
just, and they get so, it's like I am excited because they know the same people, and it's just like a brotherhood, sisterhood, it whatever you call it, a
Yeah,
kinship of, you know, there are so many awesome pockets of scenes out there that,
sure.
that feel interconnected, and that is just cool, just so you
It
can
is,
have
man.
fun, and
And
you can have fun with people, play shows and cross genre, and everybody gets along for
yeah,
the most
absolutely.
part.
I love
For
that.
the
Yeah,
most part.
I haven't had thankfully any troubles with any bands because, and that's I think kind of the beauty and the secret of us is we're not really one specific. We're not just doom. We're not just psychedelic. We're not just rock
Sure.
and roll. Like we're just kind of everything. And it's funny, I'll go on a little tangent just real quick about Arizona and kind of the full circle. When we went on our first tour, that was supposed to be 30 days. It turned into 7 shows. So we started in Indianapolis. We went to Lawrence, Kansas, which was like 10 hours. I had no idea. From Lawrence, Kansas to Austin, Texas, same night. Like I was hallucinating while driving, like seeing fish jump out of the damn road. A cop had the interstate blocked off because there was a tornado happening, and I didn't even pay any mind. I just drove around him and just kept going. And we ran through Texas, and then we went to Tempe, Arizona for our last show. And it's funny because I knew a decent amount of people out there. I lived there for 2 years and just worked with a lot of them, skated with a lot of them, and the amount of those people that would come up to me and just be like, "Oh, I remember you talking about wanting to start a band and wanting to do a band," and I couldn't even remember that. Like I was just like, I don't remember ever saying that, but fuck yeah, I'm glad you remember, and that tour was just like so sweet because we were in Arizona. We got to be there for a couple days, so I got to go to all the spots I used to go to and reminisce and see all old friends. And on the drive back, this is why it's so funny and so fucked up at the same time. And I tell it all the time. Any chance I get, I tell this story because Cam is a sweetheart. and he doesn't deserve what happened to him. But we were driving and we were in Flagstaff, and he just like looks at me and he was like, I need you to pull over. I was like, yeah, sure, man, you know. But it was weird how he asked. Like I was like, maybe he has to piss, but the way he asked was weird. And then he's like, pull over now. And I'm just like, oh shit, all right. So I like pull over, and Cam's our drummer. I don't know if you met him or if you know him, you know, he's just this big 6'4" fucking lap dog. So it's like, but he's a tough dude. So when as soon as he got out of the van, he just fell to the ground, and we're all freaking out. We're sleep deprived, and half of these dudes are stoned. We're all sick because we just did this crazy ass run that made no sense. And the day before this happened, you know, me, Pop Tart, Brian, our ex bass player, and Alex, like we were just chugging cokes like the whole time, and it's like 100,000 degrees outside.
Sure.
And Cam's just bitching at all of us in like a brotherly way, like, you guys gotta fucking drink water. What are you doing? This shit is not good to do. And he's just walking around with gallons of water, drinking it all day. So back to this. So he's on the ground and we're freaking out. We call the ambulance and get him to the hospital, and basically find out he has a kidney stone from hell.
Holy
so
shit.
so that was our first kind of experience with touring in Arizona, you know, because it was like such a fun ass time just being able to again kind of run into everyone and talk to everyone and uh play with Lucifer. They're from Tempe. They're fucking awesome. And then that happens to Cam. So it's a different world out in the desert, dude. Like that
It
shit will
is.
get you
It
quick, man.
totally is. People lose their minds in the desert.
Dude, we
And
were all out of it. Yeah, it was fucking crazy.
so like what my Arizona experience involved it was in Phoenix actually. And so we get there in town about noon for like a 6 p.m. load in or some shit like that, right? Because the show's going to start at like 10. And so we were like, what can we fucking do, you know, around town? It's just like we ride around, check the fucking place out and shit, and
Sure.
go up to the fucking one of the peaks up there. And like two of the members just were they were about to throw each other off the fucking side.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. And it was 125.
I believe it, dude.
And what's so fucking crazy about it is it was just like it's like dry sweating where you
Uh-huh. Yep.
fucking you know that you're sweating, you feel it, but when you go and do like this, you just feel the salt crystals on your fucking
Yeah,
forehead and
dude.
shit.
So
It's
wild,
like
man.
ugh. And so my experience in the desert with you know was don't drink too much Gatorade
Yep. Yeah. It's
because in the heat depraved, you know, when you lose that stuff, that it's not a good idea, and it's hard as shit to find a rest area there.
it is, man. Arizona's huge. We when we were out there, we actually so we rented a van through this guy, and that was pretty much our only transportation that we had out there. So we were really wanting to do a desert music video. We had our in-ear rig system, and we had a generator, or we just hooked it up to the battery. I can't remember, but we were able to plug everything in and record in the desert. So we ended up finding like just this really sketchy spot that when I think about it now, I'm like, man, that was really dumb. Like what we did, because we just drove up this random ass mountain that was for like Humvees and buggies and like desert cars. Like we're driving over boulders. We have no water with us, like nothing, like anything could happen. We were just been stuck on this damn mountain, and but we did it. We filmed all the shit we could and made a pretty cool music video and got it recorded and all that. So it was totally worth it. But like I said, yeah, when I think about it now, like man, Arizona is not a place to play around with like that. Like you get
No,
stranded out in the
think
desert,
of the
like you're
fucking not even
fucked.
that, just the wildlife.
Yeah, that too. And I mean, where we were, was the Salt River, which, when I
Rattlesnake
lived there,
Haven.
yeah, and coyotes and mountain lions and whoever else wants to be out there, we would see it, like we'd float down this natural river for 6 hours. You paid a couple bucks and they took you to the spot and you just floated. And you would see all that shit. You'd see bobcats drinking out of the water and horses walking across and snakes slithering around and bald eagles. And it's like, yeah, dude, we get stuck out here and one of us dies or passes out. Like that's just we're gonna be food.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. You are. It's a completely different world, and it's so wild. derailed, some random questions about you as a person. We've
Yep.
kind of already been doing this the whole show, as if you've noticed. This just gives me an excuse to cut in a music video
Hell yeah.
and or a song and whatnot, and ask some pretty fucked up questions.
I love it.
How many chickens do you think it would take to kill an elephant?
Oh man. Like an adult elephant or like a baby
Yeah,
elephant.
sure. I mean, obviously, a baby elephant would probably take 20 or 30
I think
chickens.
I think man, I don't know, man. I think it would because chickens are assholes and
Yes, they
depending
are.
on their talon ratios, I'm
Yeah,
thinking like,
on their
dude,
spur.
yeah, I'm thinking like a couple thousands, maybe like 10,000 chickens could maybe take an elephant on. It just depends where they're getting, that's some thick skin. I'm gonna lock it in and say 23,642 chickens.
All right, got that one.
Sick.
And I do draw these from a like a deck of cards here. Uh,
Fuck yeah.
can memories be erased?
Yeah, it just depends what kind of memories it is, I guess. I think memories can be forgotten. I don't know if they can be erased, because I've seen some shit in my days where I don't want to see it and it'll just pop in my head. So I don't know if they can be erased. I'd have to say no, I don't think so.
I would have to agree with that because it's like I've seen some crazy shit too, like that, and it's just like, did this already happen? Like I know everybody. I think mostly everybody gets that feeling of deja vu, like they've seen it happen.
Yeah,
Like they're going through like a file or something. You're like, I've seen this before.
like this happened. Why is this happening?
Right. This
Yeah,
is
dude,
already
that
happened.
shit's crazy to me, man. That shit's like sometimes I'm like, dude, what if it already happened, but the time that we know isn't the actual time that we're in?
Sure.
It's like maybe time is
Well,
like so much faster and it's like that already happened, but we're consciously catching up throughout our day. And so the deja vu is like the something that you already did and then you saw it and your time is capturing
oh
up
yeah,
with that,
uh it's like not sunk up to like audio not sunk up to the video.
Yeah, it's like some latency issues in a
Yeah,
way.
exactly. Uh, I had a friend explain it to me as like what a it it's like a misfire in the synapses where it takes that memory and instead of installing it into the short term file, it files it into the long term. Like so you remember it as you're doing it.
uh See,
So
this is
that's
why I don't smoke weed or take acid or anything because I already freak out on shit sober. So I'm like, I can't even imagine what I would do. Like, there's been times in my life where I'll just like look at my hands and like, how the fuck do we all think this is normal? That we're just like these things with like brains and feelings and hands and like we do all that. Like
oh
I could
sure.
write a
No,
damn
like
dictionary length book about it.
no, like
So
imagine
crazy.
so some another thing in that. Thinking like you're in your car right now. Yes, you're not driving or anything, and yes, I have had people on the sorry, the cats are doing their thing.
That's
I've
all
had
good.
people on the phone, like not on video as they're going, but on audio. um so like imagine like driving your car, speed limit is 60 mile an hour, and you hit another car that's doing the same thing. Okay, and the amount of damage that is done to the metal, the plastic, and all that. Imagine if we were free floating beings and we did the exact same thing and hit each other going at 60 mile an hour. It's like fucking we would all be liquid spots on the fucking on the ground. at some
Dude,
point.
I'm telling you, man, it just like this is the shit that I'll like wake up in the middle of the night and think about. Just be like, dude, we're on like this ball that's just like it's just been
Of
perfectly
space dirt.
gravitated. That if it moves even a centimeter, we all just die, and it hasn't done that in millions of years. Like, what the fuck? This
Sure.
isn't.
Oh,
How the
well,
fuck
it's
is
done
this?
that over millions of years,
Yeah,
where
over.
it switches, skews from the axis.
It's
But
just so
no,
trippy, dude.
so like I totally get that, and it's so weird to me too to think like I don't care about this fucking place, this rock. That I don't
Sure.
care about Mars or Venus or fucking Mercury, none of that shit. The ones that fucking like weird me out are like the gas giants, because that
Yeah,
is essentially like liquid versions of like hydrogen and other gases and shit, like floating in fucking space as a
yeah,
fucking orb.
and it's just there. It's not.
And
It's
it's
just
like all,
there.
but it's like there's no crust, there's no mantle, it's like all liquid.
Right. Yeah,
It's like,
that's
so
it's
essentially,
so weird, dude.
if you could make it through the atmosphere, you could just basically fucking pass directly through the down to the other side.
Yeah, and it's like a another really trippy thing about space is like it's just infinite. Like it could go,
Yeah.
you can go down, you can go. Yeah, I was thinking this the other day. I'm like, so if you were floating out in space and you're looking at Earth, could you float under Earth, or would it be technically look like the top of Earth? It's just
That's a
like the
very
shit like
good
that.
question,
It's
because
just like I
it's
can't.
what there's nothing there.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
one
like
of
what the fuck.
so I was watching Star Wars, and Star Trek is guilty of this as well. So there's a ship standoff, right? Just
Yeah,
at anything, at any point in any space fucking thing, there's a ship standoff. They always have to fucking come near each other or go towards each other. Why? Space is fucking infinite. It's up, down, sideways,
yeah. They're just
backwards.
like, oh shit.
Fucking just go fucking around the
Yeah, you
motherfuckers,
can
you
go
know?
go literally any way.
It's
Yeah,
like,
dude.
come
Oh
on,
man, that
dudes.
shit is crazy. Everything like the answers that we'll never know is the shit that makes me just like, what the fuck?
Well,
Like,
I
why can't I
recently
know
heard
anything?
I recently heard about a theory that was tested, and where they had taken somebody who was passing away, and they hooked them up to like the sleep scan,
Oh
uh
yeah.
like electronics and shit like that, where they're monitoring their brain waves and everything. And they were trying to see what happened with consciousness after that. Like, what did the things do? And
Yeah.
and apparently the way they did something, it like had results where it was like on a star chart.
It's so sick.
That was, and I don't know the truth of it, but like it sounds like it's made for Hollywood. But who knows?
Well,
Who
yeah,
None of us do.
exactly. Yeah. Who
None
fucking
of us
knows,
do.
man? And
And
that's
that's when
like
we're all here.
we're
Uh
here.
here for the time.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Hollywood thing, have any movies been filmed in your hometown?
Hoosiers, I think was.
Okay, so are you actually from Bloomington then?
No, I'm from Whiteland originally, which is
Okay,
about
I know
35
where
minutes
Whiteland
north,
is.
probably, something like that. So I would say technically I've gone to Bloomington enough to say
That it's
that
considered
that's like
home.
the closest movie shit that well, fucking Will Ferrell was in Indianapolis a few years ago for some kind of movie he was doing. I don't know what movie it was for, or if it was a show or a skit or what, but he was just
Mm.
randomly popping up everywhere. Like he was at the Pacers game, and then he was at a marsh, or not a marsh, a mire, like right down the street from my house. But other than that, I don't know if any any
I
big
mean,
movies or anything
I'm
that come
sure
from
there's
there.
tons of stuff that have been filmed here, regardless of scale, because I mean, I've shot videos in Indiana, but
Shit.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but I mean, so but yeah, I think Hoosiers actually was filmed here as well.
I actually
So
played in that. I played in that gym one time. It was sick. Like the
hell yeah.
original gym and all that. Like my friend, he lived in like these apartments that were connected to it. So he just had infinite access. And we went in there and we were like shooting around. And I think it was that, unless he was bullshitting me. I mean, that could be a possibility too.
That's always the thing, right?
Yeah, I'm like, oh hell yeah.
What's your go-to late night snack?
That's a good one. Well, kind of lately it's been these little like microwavable yakishobas. Fucking love
Mm,
Japanese food, dude. It's the best. That or some salt and vinegar chips, probably. I kind of suck at eating, which sounds stupid to say, but like I'll eat one huge meal and then I just like I'm too bored to eat. It's so dumb. I don't
well,
know
I
how to explain it.
mean, I
Like
think
I'll
that's the
eat and I'm just
thing.
like, I'm too bored. Like it's taking too long. I don't want to eat anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, I think it's also the times. A lot of people are, I think a lot more people are doing that. I hear
Yeah,
more about it.
probably.
I hear more about it from people in our age groups now than ever before, I guess. Like, and it's all because of time. It's either stress, it's,
Sure.
stress over what's going on with dumb shit, politics, and like real world shit, or you're
Yeah.
fucking whatever, or you're just so fucking busy you don't fucking self care for it. And you just say you eat uh, a fucking granola bar at breakfast and a fucking diet coke at lunch and fucking whatever you have for dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah. It's
think
it's
that's
hard, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think, check on your friends. Say, bitch, did you drink your water today?
Yeah, dude. For real. I need to say that to myself too. Like, man, why am I not drinking water still? It's funny, man. Like, of how undomesticated I've been my whole life. When I first got my fiance, and she's like, it feels like I'm relearning how to live half the time. But she's like, it's just embarrassing when I first ever had her come over and we were dating, and she like opens up the cabinet to get a cup and realizes there's no cups, there's no plates. Like I didn't live like that. Like I was a fast food just junkie.
Sure.
And she's like, "What the fuck is like? You have no cups? Do you even have like bottles of water or anything?" And I'm just like, "Nah." So I've been getting on like a program of being a little more domesticated. Like, we'll have dinner together, and I still fuck around with lunch and like get fast food. It's just, dude, yeah, it's just like it's all you got time for. It feels like half the time, or I'm just too lazy, to make something.
Sure. Sure. No, I totally get that. And yeah, I mean, but again, it's like, is it undomesticated or is it just your adaptation to life? I mean, honestly, I think it's kind of my adaptation to life too. I,
Yeah,
I'm in the, I live at my house, that I'm at, and I'm just like, doing podcasts and fucking I'll stop by the fucking store every day, at some point to fucking just pick up something to take home.
sure.
Because that's all I do. Like very rarely do I fully go out and like do the grocery shopping thing.
Right. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hard, man. It's like, and that was like kind of, it's hard to explain to somebody, that the life I lived all through my late teens and my 20s was like couch surfing and skating and like state surfing. Like I would go to a different state, it felt like every fucking weekend. And like all I knew was grab something quick and go skate. And
yeah,
that was, and I never kind of got out of that habit. And it's a bad habit sometimes, but it's mostly it's a bad habit for the health. That's
sure.
the thing. It's like that shit does catch up eventually. And I keep thinking, I'm like, I got plenty of time to worry about being 60 years old or 50 or 70 or whatever. And it's like, not really though. I remember thinking like, damn, I'm going to be 30 one day and now I'm about to be 34 already. So it's like, you don't
To
got the
be
time.
30, yeah, to be 34 again. I totally get that. Um, what is the most important thing you've learned about your mental health this year?
Oh man, that's way too good, dude. That's a great fucking question. It's actually kind of back to that patience conversation we were having with even music, and kind of taking a step back and breathing and assessing and realizing that, you know, nothing's really in your hands, nothing's really in your control. And that's kind of what's happening with our new album, The Mirror. It's called The Mirror because it's, all the lyrics are self-reflected of how I've changed and who I'm changing to in a non-cheesy way. Like I'm trying to keep it kind of in a metaphorical way, like there was a pretty interesting time when I had first kind of moved out here that it felt like I was not gonna ever get out of what I was stuck in. Like it was Groundhog's Day.
Yeah,
It was that. Like I was just waking up, feeling the same things, seeing the same things. And the song The Mirror, the last song we played at our set, was just a release of mental anguish in a way, not so dramatic, but it's like the second verse says those thoughts that spiral through your hollow head. It's like shit like that. It's like you're not thinking all the way. It's like just shut up, sit back and think and just relax a little. And sometimes it's easy to overthink, but I would say that's what I've learned uh, about my mental health this year is, not everything is going to be in my control and shit. Everything always fucking works out. And as cheesy and weird as it sounds, the Pacers are a great metaphor for this, that they're down 20 with 2 minutes and they come back and fucking win. Like that's life. You're going to lose until you don't, but if you
right.
stop, you lose, so it's like just keep going, staying focused and sharp and just trying to acclimate to better decisions and better thoughts and more music.
Boom. And there it is right there.
Hmm.
And dude, like I cannot add anything else to that because it's exactly how I feel about that same thing,
Fuck yeah.
doing I've done the same things, playing like this year, you know, it's probably been one of the busiest years already for me playing shows and doing other things, you
Good.
know,
Sick.
just because I'm doing two bands worth of shows now and, two bands worth of recording and recording for all of this. And, if you stop, you die.
It's true, man. It's true. It's like, and that's the
Ex-
thing too, man,
Especially now.
especially now. Yeah. And that's the thing that to make it very, I've always said it. I've always tried to say it. It's like, always be an ear for somebody. It's not hard to do. If someone's talking to you, and more specifically, if it's your friends and your family, be the ear and be kind of the leader in a sense of like, hey, man, you lose if you stop. Like you're doing all right. Just keep going. That's
Hell
all it
yeah.
is.
Hell yeah, man. So Derek, I've got one more question, but before we do it, I tell this every show because this is the thing that this show has been founded on, and I will say it till I'm blue in the fucking face, as they say, is links are listed below. So please give likes, shares, and follows. Go do all the things and all the stuff. Go buy merch, go see these dudes live. Fucking as you said, as we talked about earlier, and it was, where the release is going to be after the show with Goya, but you could have been there. You
Could
could
have
have
been
been
there.
there. And if you were there, fucking you rock. And if you weren't there, life does suck sometimes and we can't do all the things
It's
that we want to do, but you
true.
should have been there.
You should have been there. Yep.
You should have been there. Dude, do you have anything else you'd like to promote or shout out today?
Yeah, I mean, of course, my fiance for putting up with my crazy musical schedule and just being a
Yes.
rad overall fiance. And of course, Pop Tart for believing in the vision and getting over stage fright. That dude had insane stage fright. Like he wouldn't do anything with involving a stage. He wouldn't even look at a stage. Um, Alex for being a hell of a organ, keyboard ripper, chess player, fucking skateboarder. They both shred. They both skate. We all skate. They're really good. Cam for right place, right time. The way we met wasn't supposed to happen. I mean, it was supposed to happen by fate, but realistically, it shouldn't have happened, and it did. And I'm thankful that he has joined our band, and he has taken us to heights that we would have never seen. Um, to our ex bass player Brian, because without him we wouldn't have what we have either. So we got to give thanks to him too. He's still our brother. We still love him. And to Anthony, our bass player now, he's bringing the heat and he's bringing the smarts, and we're really stoked for the future of us. And thanks to everybody that's listening to your show and supporting you. Thanks to you for having us and having me. Thanks to, Dustin and Black Circle for believing in us when we are just a little apartment band trying to figure it out. And just to anybody that supports us in any way, man. Like I said, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, that's all right. We're going to keep going anyway. So those are my shout
Yeah.
outs.
Hell yeah, absolutely. And dude, and seriously, thank you for what you do. And it's awesome to, that is the thing that I get the most reward out of this show is talking to people like you, like Dave Ellison, like Dustin, or anybody else, like that's, anybody that's doing their thing and doing the stuff. And I'm a few weeks back, I made a post. Well, again, by the time this airs, it was a few weeks back about, if you're in an original band, I will fucking, I'll follow you into the mouth of fucking hell, usually,
Sick.
I'll
Yeah.
support as much as I can. But if you fucking send me a tribute band or a fucking cover band like to like on Facebook, I get so fucking annoyed by that shit. Now
Yeah.
everybody's gonna do it that I've mentioned it on here, but like I just don't get it. But yeah, totally.
I don't, dude. I don't either, man. And some of those dudes, like, it's actually funny. I saw this band called the Four Horsemen. It was a Metallica cover band,
Yeah, they're the
and
only
it,
studio quality cover band of
and
Metallica.
I'm just like, dude, they're selling merch. They played this outside venue that like we have been trying to play for ages, like just sold the place out. And I'm just like, man, good for you guys, but fuck you at the same time.
Well, it's copying somebody else's homework.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And
It's
they're only
I
doing it for
won't get it
fucking
either.
money. They're only
Yeah,
doing it because it's a fucking the money train. And honestly, you know, bands like that kind of piss me off because Metallica's still playing music.
dude, I saw him 3 times last summer. It was fucking crazy.
Dude,
Holy
that's
shit.
wild.
Yeah, it was
And what's
insane.
wild is like because they're so expensive now.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Yeah.
But like, you know, what really fucking irks me though is seeing fucking tribute bands for get the lead out, the Led Zeppelin
Yeah.
tribute band,
20 of
or
them.
yeah, but or they're like the ones that take the name of the other band and just like shorten it or fucking add a tagline to it. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
literally one called Sabbath, America's Black Sabbath.
Uh,
And it's like so
Bastards.
fucking cringe to me.
Yeah.
Uh,
I will say one cover band that fucking rips is Max Sabbath. If you've ever
that
heard of them,
that's a weird thing though. That's not necessarily a cover band.
it's true.
They're like a Psycho Stick or a Weird Al.
Yeah, dude, I saw him live 3 times, I think.
Yeah, I've seen them like two or
So
three times
sick.
too.
So sick, dude. So that stuff, I can get behind that stuff, but when it's like they're dressing up as the members of Black Sabbath and
Yeah, like that's it.
called, you know,
Or
I'm
like
like, come
Kiss
on, guys.
Army. Kiss Army's been
Yeah.
one for years. That especially around the Midwest.
Oh,
You know,
dude, yeah, they
Kiss
love that
Army
shit.
has played
I'm
like
wearing a Kiss shirt right now.
yeah.
Fucking love Kiss.
I mean, they wrote good music. I'm not gonna lie. They
They
did.
did. And
They
they
wrote
wrote
good
interesting
music.
music too.
Yeah, and interesting stuff. And you know, and I it puts into the consideration of everything I've ever fucking said is like, you know, any five dudes can get on a stage or five people can get on a stage and play in a band.
Sure.
Okay. You know, playing a show is something different. People
Yeah.
like people like Kiss brought stage shows into the norm. You know,
Right.
fireworks and fucking pyrotechnics and fucking light shows and shit like that. Later on, people like Sabbath would do it, but it was until after Kiss, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As I
And
say, Ozzy solo stuff got pretty crazy up there on the stage.
yes, it did. And but again, you know, Ozzy solo stuff, you're looking at 1980.
Yeah, I
So it's
love
still
it,
after
dude.
Kiss.
Don't get me wrong. I fucking love that shit. It is after Kiss. Yeah, Kiss brought that, and even hell, you could even say Arthur Brown,
Mm-hmm.
late 60s when he'd come out with all the face paint and the robe and the flaming
Oh
hat.
yeah, absolutely.
That was scarring to people back then.
Well, and honestly, like some of the earlier people like that were doing weird stuff like that, like Pink Floyd, even
Yeah,
where
Pink Floyd.
they were doing like the clock projector stuff where
Yeah,
they take the face off the clock and put it on the overhead projector with oil and water and they're just like tipping it and putting
so
fucking
cool.
colored films over it.
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean,
I
just
fucking
like bare
love Pink
bones of
Floyd,
the
man.
I mean, they're a band that again, you know, they transcend like generationally, I think. You
I
know,
agree.
like there is some eh, there's something about like their early era that is endearing, the psychedelia era.
Yeah.
And then there's stuff that when they go into the more psychedelia prog era in the 70s with like Animals Wish You Were Here, Dark Side, and not to mention the other stuff like metal and Umaguma and things like that
Yeah.
that you
Yep.
don't get. Like you really only get force fed the big four albums of the 70s for them.
Sure. Yep.
But like all that other stuff, you know, was just completely different. And then when you get the post Roger stuff in the 80s and
Yeah,
90s,
even that shit too. Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah,
just
like Momentary Lapse of
timeless.
Reason
So good, dude.
was actually the first two albums I remember buying for myself
Sweet.
were The Wall because it was still always expensive as fuck back in the day. It
Yeah,
was a $30 album because it was two discs and Momentary Lapse of Reason.
so good.
And
That album's so good, man.
oh yeah, I mean like fucking Learning to Fly and shit.
Dude, it's so yeah, that song is and on the turning away. Is that on there right?
Oh
On the turning
fuck
away?
yeah. And New Machine.
Yep. Yeah,
The New Machine songs are good. But anyway, as I said, I have one more question.
sure.
And so I always like to ask a kind of far out question. And we
Cool.
kind of already hinted at this earlier. So I don't know if we should ask it, but it's like when you hear outer space, what is it to you?
Outer space is just yeah, it is. It's just endless, unknown things that keep me up at night. Like I'm just like, man, what? Like what is infinite? Is it really infinite?
Do you
Like,
hit
is
the
it
wall
really
somewhere?
just, is it forever or is there like some kind of wall? But where's the wall, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, that shit's wild to me. So yeah, I just think endless,
You
infinite.
know, the Men in Black movies, they've always ended those films with something wild like that make you think of, otherworldly possibilities, like where one of them was Kay had like a society of people living in a locker in Grand Central Station. And at the end of that film, he kicks open a door and they're in a locker at a fucking bigger fucking station,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
So
is
sick.
that the thing? Or like the one where the universe was the little fucking necklace on the cat's fucking
Yeah, dude.
thing,
Yeah.
and
Still
it's
think
just like
about
it
that.
stands to reason. I've got this fucking D20 here. Yeah, it's fucking made of fucking copper, but what the fucking, are there any fucking organisms in that shit,
Yeah, that see it like
microscopic?
that.
Yeah,
See it as a
that's their fucking
universe.
galaxy.
Yeah, dude. It's the really how small we are is what's
Sure.
crazy. It's like
Yeah.
we think we're all giants. So it's like you zoom out, like we're tiny, really. I mean, to us, we probably all feel big, but it's like, really, how big are we? You know?
Dude, I look at things like on this planet, so taking like outer space, and yeah, like the first thing that comes to mind is fucking Space Odyssey by fucking David Bowie.
Dude, yeah.
Dude, fucking, he's on a fucking mission and he fucking never comes back.
David Bowie is like, man, he's the reason. Him and Jim Morrison are the reason why I ever even started doing music.
I could get that. I can get behind
And
that.
of course, Dark Side of the Moon too. Dark Side of the Moon to me, I still, for as long as I can remember, I've been saying that's the greatest album ever written. I could be wrong, but to me, that album has
No, I
saved
think
me
it
many
stands. I
times.
think it stands to reason that it is, because I think only until like 2020 did it drop off of the Billboard chart. It had
Yeah,
been
that
on
is
there
insane.
consecutive since
Yeah,
its release.
yeah. It's like, and Alan Parsons produced it, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
that dude knew what he was doing. The Alan Parsons project too, man. That all their music is insanely smart, fascinating, and Dark Side of the Moon specifically is just again ever since I can remember, man. That album front to back is just
Oh yeah, it's
it
amazing.
never gets old.
Just just on like being a musician and somebody who's into like the making of albums on like a tabloid level, like I am. Like, you give me a documentary on a fucking album and I will watch it. I don't care who it is.
Sure,
It could be goddamn Garth Brooks, and I would
hell
watch it
yeah,
just to see
yeah,
how their system works. And it's like, what can
sure,
I use from their system that would aid me in doing this? So like Eagle Rock had an amazing series of what they called classic albums. And they've got like Bad Out of Hell, Asia, fucking Ace of Spades, the Black Album, British Steel, fucking more the Doors. They got one for Morrison Hotel, they've got one for LA Woman, which I think is an amazing fucking album
it is.
for being recorded by guys who were not even fucking on a civil level,
Right.
you know. And so yeah, like I totally feel the connection with the Morrison aspect. The just the way I write in is a lot like my own adaptation of how Morrison would write.
Yeah. Yep.
And because I look at it as like a critical thinking exercise. And
Yeah.
we went to the point where now it's just like, do you hit the wall with the universe? It's just like, it's that thing. It's like so expansive, even drop down to the minuscule aspect of what we are. It's still so
Yeah.
expansive that how we share like a Morrison connection that way.
Yeah. Totally, dude. And that's like, when I was probably 15 or 16 when I first, because I grew up skateboarding. I still skateboard. And that's how I got introduced to a lot of music was, the songs and skate videos. And my friend at the time, he's a couple of years older than me, and he was like really into David Bowie. And, David Bowie for me turned into like Hendrix rabbit holes and Sabbath rabbit holes and big, because I got my first iPod and I was just thinking of songs that were in skate videos and Under the Sun. I didn't even know it was Black Sabbath. I was just thought it was Ozzy. And then I was like, oh, this is Black Sabbath. Like, what the fuck? And then that opened me up to volume 4.
Yeah.
And,
And
and then just stumbled
honestly,
on the Doors.
honestly, that's my favorite Sabbath album.
It's so good, man.
It,
It's
I
so hard
mean,
to choose, man. Like I
it
go
really
in
is.
between volume 4 and Technical Ecstasy because it was so different and just so kind of out there, and like smokier and
Yeah.
more. I don't know how to explain it, man. I mean, every
And then you've
album they've
got Never
done
Say
is so
Die,
good. Yeah, Never Say Die is fantastic, and
which again
obviously
is
Sabotage.
uh kind of theft by deception with the cover meets the fucking music.
Yeah,
But
dude, they totally went a different direction, but still, sprinkled themselves in.
sure, dude, for the mirror,
Yeah,
that's the total fucking that's the album cover. You've got to do it now. You've got
dude.
to
Yeah.
do you have to riff on Sabotage.
Well, I've considered that. There's a couple ideas I have. I'll go ahead and spill the beans and kind of say my ideas because there's one where I want to either take it of all of us in a mirror maze, kind of ripping
Like in the
on
fun house.
Sabotage. Yeah, like it, and it just because it's everywhere, it will be everywhere. And then and another one I had was kind of the band standing maybe in like a graveyard or something, holding a giant mirror, and then I would be in the reflection of that. And then the other one was kind of a rip off of Snow White with the mirror on the wall. All of our faces kind of smokied,
Yeah.
warped, green, evil, kind of in a cool little picture mirror frame that my fiance has because she's a photographer too, and she has like all this, all of her grandparents were 100 years old, like they're all very old, so they have all these relics of theirs still. And she's like, I have this perfect mirror
Dude, that's
that
awesome.
we could get your faces in and make it all sick. And then we're also thinking like, how could we make it reflective so when the person's holding it they can see themselves
I
in it.
you fucking bing, you read
Yeah,
my
dude.
mind. You read my mind. I was immediately when you're saying like with your faces in the mirror, I was immediately thinking of Uriah Heep's Look at
Yep.
Yourself.
Yeah, dude. Yep, exactly. Yeah, or like
Yeah.
maybe
And
if it
like,
opens up or something.
dude, that would be cool because like that's something that's never not been done in like this like current resurgence of vinyl. Yeah, you get like foil fucking names like
Yeah,
like foil stuff from people, but like having like a foil fucking silver mirror
be so sick, dude. Or
or
like insert mirror or something.
hey, here's the thing. And I can cut this part out if you want to use the idea is I know a guy who makes the party mirrors that all these other bands have.
Hey.
So what about basically doing a party mirror and a download?
Yeah, see, yes, shit like that. Yeah,
That
exactly.
would be rad, dude.
We're trying to get like outside of the box, like where it's like, what's
That's too good of
something
an
no
idea. I'm
one's
cutting that out.
no. Okay, that's fine with me. Yeah, that is good.
Um,
Um, like, or if you open the vinyl and it's like the flap is open, and maybe we have like an actual mirror somehow engraved into it. So it's like you open up the vinyl
that would be
or
cool.
the record or whatever, and then there's a big ass mirror, and you're just like looking at yourself, and maybe have it say something like "Look at yourself" or something.
Sure, yeah. Like here's a cool here's one that I thought was cool is I've seen where people do like mirror art and like where they'll take like a Dremel tool and they'll be just like and like would carve like pictures onto the mirror glass.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, how the fuck do you get them made? You know, like something
Yeah,
like that would be
exactly. Yeah,
so
it's like
sick,
you'd have to
dude.
like it's such a niche market.
Yeah, it's like, hey, because we have a guy that he did our Devil's Night graphic. He's in Brazil, and then it ships off to Ohio where we get our records pressed. And I'm like, maybe if I got a hold of them and kind of shot them my ideas, like if they would have something that, fuck, dude, even a mere vinyl, like one of one,
Mm,
like something cool like that, just something just way out there, obscure that would make somebody be like, whoa,
the
I got to get
stamping
that.
plate.
Yeah, dude, that would be
The
fucking great.
stamping plate is silver, so
That is true.
and it would be technically two because you'd have the A side and the B side.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
Boom.
so we're
That
trying to
which would suck because you'd have to have
research.
fucking a second stamping plate made if you ever had to
Yeah,
repress it.
dude, that shit would probably be so expensive too, my God. And that's just all we're trying to do right now is kind of like remind people that we're still here. Because
Sure.
again, Sign of the Times did insane. And then Devil's Night just kind of disappeared into the shadows. And to me, I felt like it was our greatest work because it was our first concept album, start to finish. It's just a story. And I think where maybe we went wrong is, originally I thought of the idea of like each song, because of how long they are, I'll use our song Watch Them As They Die. It's about 10 minutes long, but really it's three songs. And I
Sure.
originally thought of doing like Watch Them As They Die medley or Watch Them As They Die part one, two, three. So people think they're just different songs rather than like, damn, I got to sit through fucking 10 minutes of this damn song.
You
you
know,
know?
that's interesting because I've got a couple of songs that way where I've sectioned them off. Kind of like
Yeah.
if you have an early enough printing of like Paranoid the album, it's like War Pigs, Luke's Wall.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
And like the interesting thing is I've done that and seeing like royalty uh like fucking like plays and shit like that is how in the fuck do when you have uh like gunslinger last rites and they have different play amounts.
Yeah, dude, that is true. Yeah.
That's a
That's
weird
funny.
thing to me. So like that's what I've always saw with that. But dude, Derek, I'm gonna it's getting late for you, for me. We're doing the thing and all the stuff on our way out today. For one, I want to say thank you. This has been awesome. I need to catch you all again, maybe bring you
Fuck
all
yeah.
down to Louisville.
Would be down. We played Magbar a few times. We love it.
Hell yeah. And that's probably where it would be.
I'm down, dude. Yeah, man. Well, I
Hell yeah.
appreciate you, dude. This was great, man. This is a lot of fun, and
It is. And yeah,
I
we'll
really appreciate
totally,
it.
totally have you all back, man. This has been like an
Sick.
awesome conversation.
Fuck
Um,
yeah, man.
on our way out today from ancient days, what do you want to play?
Uh, I think let's go way deep cuts. And I'm gonna say I'd like Night Stalker.
All right. Here it is. Night Stalker. Dig it.
Chapter 1. This is the story behind one of the greatest manhunts in history. Maybe you read about it, or rather what they let you read about it, probably as some minor item buried somewhere on a back page. However, what happened in that city between May 16th and May 28th of this year was so incredible that to this day the facts have been suppressed in a massive effort to save certain political careers from disaster and law enforcement officials from embarrassment. This will be the last time I will ever discuss these events with anyone. So when you have finished this bizarre account, judge for yourself its believability, and then try to tell yourself, wherever you may be, it couldn't happen here.
At first, Los Angeles
police thought that the murder of a young woman last March was an isolated act of violence, but since then they've come to believe it was connected to a wide-ranging series of assaults by a killer who's become known as the Night Stalker, a killer who apparently struck again during the weekend. We have a report from Nadine Virginia.
Police today continue to search for any clues in the near-fatal shooting of 29-year-old William Carnes and the rape of his girlfriend. They're apparently the latest victims of the Night Stalker, thought to be responsible now for 34 brutal attacks, 14 of them fatal. These serial killings, once confined to the near Los Angeles area, are now spread over 500 miles from San Francisco to Orange County.
those who die from the bite of the vampire will return as a vampire, unless destroyed first. So think about it, and try to tell yourself, wherever you may be, in the quiet of your home, in the safety of your bed, try to tell yourself, it couldn't happen here.
Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com, and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing. Hey metalheads, after going to a rager, what's your ultimate go-to? Mine is totally pizza. So when Overload is playing, or I'm promoting the Metal Forge live showcases, or the big goddamn metal show, I go to Pizza Donisi. Pizza Donisi is gourmet artisan pizza from right here in Louisville, Kentucky. It features things like the pizza of the month, the sandwiches, and also vegetarian and vegan options, which is so totally fucking cool for all of it's awesome pizza. You definitely want to go. Hey, and also from time to time they do cannolis. Oh, so fucking good. You know what they said, man? Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Yeah, just like that in Godfather. They're located right next to the Mag Bar at 1396 South 2nd Street. So either stop in or call in at 502-213-0488. They're open till midnight. The witching hour.
Heineken! Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
Hey metalheads, you all hear me talk about Mag Bar all the time. It is the home to the Metal Forge live showcases and is an integral stop in the ultimate underground metal tour schedule. They obviously feature live music, but the Mag Bar also has daily specials like Pint and Slice Night on Tuesdays with Pizza Donisi. But they also do Bring Your Own Vinyl on Thursdays with DJ Kent Jackson, and Finer Things Sundays. Located right next to Pizza Donisi at 1398 South 2nd Street, open 3 p.m. to 4 a.m. 7 days a week. Get your asses out to the Mag Bar. Rock out. For 45 years in keeping Louisville weird, Electric Ladyland has been there for all your eccentricities. While they do offer the best smoking supplies out on the market today, there's a whole lot more to check out. From ashtrays and blacklight posters, to records, incense and burners, and items to stock your metaphysical supply. They are open from 10 to 10, 7 days a week, located at 2325 Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky, and at electricladyland420.com. Roll out. In 2017, one man's vision and passion for all things metal started out as a record store in his house. Years later, the fight against a mainstream empire continues as Shade Beast. An independent metal collective and online store based in Athens, Georgia, is the world's premier heavy metal brand for music heads that value authenticity over the mainstream acceptance. Featuring original t-shirts from some of the best underground artists, as well as stickers, posters from the Shade Beast Presents concert series. Unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles and small curated selection of vinyl and cassettes from the masters old and new. Visit shadebeast.com and enter promo code SithLord for free domestic shipping on your first order, whether you're a new customer or returning. And be sure to join the Shade Beast social groups on Facebook and the interwebs to keep up with the new release announcements and talk all things metal and Star Wars. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and filth.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soul Grinder Zine! An independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Set back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE10 to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. Hey Metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby.
In a broken wasteland, come to my fire and place your blood and steel upon my pyre.